Japan's oldest doctor, don't forget this before sleep or you will lose brain strength. What if I told you your brain might be quietly breaking down every night, not from age, not from disease, but from the way you go to bed? That gentle forgetfulness. The names you can't quite recall, the mornings that feel heavier than they used to. None of it is just getting older. For millions of Americans over 60, these are warning signs, not of illness, but of neglect. Not intentional, of course, but still costly. Because here's the truth every night. Your brain enters its most important job: cleansing, repairing, remembering. But if you go to bed the wrong way without the signals it needs, it can't do any of that. It simply gets stuck. Tonight, I want to gently walk you through 5 quiet bedtime habits backed by science, shaped by real life that could help your mind sleep deeper, heal faster, and remember more clearly. This might be the most important video you watch this week, maybe this year, because you deserve to wake up feeling like yourself again. And if that's something you long for: clarity, calm, connection, please consider subscribing to Health 365. We're here to help you age with grace, not confusion. Let's begin with the small nightly choices that can change everything. Part 1, Nourish to remember. Why a light night snack can prevent brain fog. It might surprise you to hear this, but one of the most overlooked causes of mental fog in older adults is simply going to bed hungry. In a world that constantly praises fasting and clean eating, many seniors trying to be healthy avoid eating after a certain hour. But after 60, your brain plays by different rules. As we age, our metabolism slows and our brain becomes more sensitive to changes in blood sugar. While skipping dinner might seem virtuous, it can actually starve the brain of the very fuel it needs to do its overnight work. Think of it this way: nighttime isn't just rest for the body, it's a full repair shift for the brain. During deep sleep, your brain clears out waste, files away memories, and resets for the next day. But without glucose, that process slows down dramatically. In 2016, researchers at the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that extended nightly fasting in older adults led to elevated cortisol levels and reduced glucose availability in the brain. The result: poorer memory consolidation and disrupted emotional regulation by morning. I once spoke with a retired engineer named George, 72, who told me he started skipping dinner to lose weight. Within a few weeks, he began feeling forgetful and irritable. His doctor suggested a small snack before bed, a piece of soft fruit with nut butter or warm milk. Within days, his mood improved. Within weeks, his clarity returned. The key isn't to eat heavily, but to eat wisely. Aim for light, easily digestible snacks: a small bowl of miso soup, half a banana with almond butter, a soft-boiled egg with a few steamed greens. Avoid cold, sugary, or fried foods, which can trigger inflammation and disrupt sleep. This simple act, nourishing your brain before bed, is more than a habit. It's a message to your nervous system that you are safe, that it can begin the night's healing. So before we explore the next step, breathing, give your brain this basic gift fuel, because a calm breath means nothing to a starving mind. Part 2, the breath that tells your brain it's safe to rest. Now that your brain has received the fuel it needs, we can move to something just as essential but often ignored: your breath. While food gives the brain physical energy, breath gives it emotional permission to relax. Without that signal, even a well-fed brain can stay tense, restless, and alert. This is where many seniors get stuck. They do all the right things: eat well, take their medications, even go to bed on time, but their mind won't turn off. The reason often lies in the breath. Most people don't realize that the way we breathe directly affects the nervous system. When we breathe quickly and shallowly, especially during stress, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which puts the body in a state of alertness, often called fight or flight. That state is useful when we're in danger, but it's the opposite of what the brain needs at bedtime. To truly rest and repair, the body must shift into parasympathetic mode: rest and digest, and the breath is the bridge. A study published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience in 2018 found that just 5 minutes of slow breathing, where the exhale lasts longer than the inhale, increased parasympathetic activity and heart rate variability, both signs of deeper rest and better emotional regulation. In simpler terms, your breath can tell your brain, you're safe, it's okay to let go. I once met a man named Robert, 78, who had a healthy heart and active lifestyle. But every night, he'd lie in bed for hours, his thoughts racing, unable to sleep. I taught him a simple method I learned from Japanese healing traditions: inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Exhale even more slowly for 6. He did this for just 5 minutes each night, hand on his belly, eyes closed. 2 weeks later, he told me, "It feels like my brain finally knows it can rest." You don't need a fancy technique. You just need rhythm. Try this tonight after your light snack. Sit quietly and breathe. Let each inhale bring in peace, and each exhale release tension. Over time, this practice becomes a doorway, one that leads the mind from chaos into calm. And once your breath settles your nervous system, your environment becomes the next message. Because even a relaxed brain can't rest if the room around it is still shouting daytime. Part 3. Light, Sound, and Space, Rebuilding a Sleep Sanctuary. Now that the breath has calmed your nervous system, it's time to turn our attention to the space around you. Because even if your body is nourished and your breath is gentle, your brain still listens to its environment. And for many older adults, the bedroom is quietly sabotaging sleep. Most people underestimate the power of light, noise, and clutter in signaling the brain that it's still daytime. We might feel tired. We might even close our eyes. But if the room is bright, the TV is humming, and the phone is still lighting up, it confuses the brain's internal clock. It's like trying to sleep while someone keeps knocking gently on your door every few minutes. The brain never fully lets go. The human brain relies on circadian rhythms, biological cycles tied to light in and darkness, to know when to release melatonin, the hormone that initiates sleep. But studies show that just 30 minutes of bright artificial light before bed can reduce melatonin by up to 50%, making it harder to fall and stay asleep. In 2017, a study published in the Journal of Neuroscience confirmed this. Participants exposed to screens or overhead lights before bed had shorter, lighter sleep and reduced memory consolidation during the night. Simply put, your brain can't repair what it doesn't believe needs resting. I remember Mrs. Laney, a 69-year-old artist who told me she couldn't understand why she felt exhausted despite sleeping 8 hours a night. Her evenings were always busy scrolling news, background TV, answering messages until the moment her head hit the pillow. When we reviewed her routine, it was clear her brain never got the signal that it was time to shut down. With one small change, turning off screens 45 minutes before bed and switching to soft lamplight, her sleep quality transformed. "It's like my mind finally found a dimmer switch," she told me. "If you want your mind to rest, your environment must whisper peace. Try dimming the lights at least an hour before bed. If you can, use warm light bulbs or candles instead of overhead lights. Turn off all screens, yes, even your phone, and place it outside the bedroom. Open a window slightly for fresh air, and declutter your nightstand to signal calm, not chaos." This isn't just about sleep hygiene. It's about teaching your brain to trust that night has come. And once your space becomes a sanctuary, we can step deeper into the emotional landscape that often keeps people awake. Because even in the darkest room, with the quietest breath, unprocessed emotions can still keep the mind spinning. Part 4. A Grateful Mind Sleeps Deeper. The 2-minute journal habit. Once your space becomes a sanctuary and your breath signals peace, there's one more silent force that can still keep you awake: your thoughts. Because the truth is, even in a dark, quiet room, many older adults lie in bed with minds full of unfinished business, worries about health, regrets about the past, uncertainty about what tomorrow might bring. This emotional clutter can be just as disruptive to sleep as bright lights or loud noise. Our brains are wired to solve problems, even at night. But if we don't give them a way to put the day to rest, they'll keep cycling through everything that went wrong. And that's where gratitude comes in, not as a feel-good slogan, but as a proven neurological tool. In 2011, researchers at the University of Manchester found that people who practiced gratitude before bed not only fell asleep faster, but had better sleep quality and fewer nighttime awakenings. Another study from UC Davis showed that older adults who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for each night had lower levels of inflammation, more balanced cortisol, and even improved memory function. The reason gratitude activates the brain's reward system, releasing serotonin and dopamine, 2 chemicals essential for both emotional stability and cognitive performance. I once worked with Mr. Patel, 81, a thoughtful man who told me his nights were the hardest. He said, "My body's tired, but my thoughts just won't leave me alone." I suggested one simple shift each night. Take 2 minutes, a pen, and a notebook. Write down 3 things that brought even the smallest joy that day. A warm cup of tea, a phone call, the scent of rain. At first, he thought it was silly, but a week later, he said, "I didn't expect it, but I feel lighter. My mind isn't racing the same way anymore." Gratitude doesn't erase pain or fix problems, but it re-anchors the mind. It teaches the brain to focus on what's safe, present, and real, not on distant fears. So after dimming your lights and quieting your breath, give yourself this final act of emotional closure. 2 minutes, 3 thoughts, one small notebook, and then let your mind know the day is done and peace is possible. From here, we enter the final step, building rhythm, because even the most peaceful habits can't work if they happen at random. Part 5, Rhythm is the language of healing. Why consistency restores memory. By now, you've learned how to feed your brain, how to calm it with breath, how to quiet your environment, and how to settle your thoughts with gratitude. But there's one final ingredient that ties everything together. One silent signal the brain craves more than anything else: rhythm. Without it, even the best habits lose their power. The brain doesn't operate only on logic. It also operates on timing. Our internal clock, also known as the circadian rhythm, depends on cues that repeat: when we eat, when we wind down, when we turn off the lights. These consistent signals help the brain know what time it is and what task to perform. When those cues are irregular, the brain becomes confused. It doesn't know whether it's time to heal, to stay alert, or to start preparing for another day. So it does a little of everything and nothing well. A study published in Sleep Medicine Reviews in 2019 found that older adults with inconsistent sleep and wake times had significantly lower cognitive performance than those with regular rhythms. Importantly, the study ruled out other factors like diet or medication. The difference wasn't what they ate or took, it was how consistent they were with their sleep cues. I remember Miss Clara, a retired nurse who couldn't understand why she felt mentally foggy even though she ate healthy, exercised daily, and had a peaceful bedtime routine. But when she began journaling her evenings, she realized every night looked different. Some dinners at 6, others at 9, sometimes reading before bed, other nights scrolling her phone. There was no rhythm, only scattered effort. Once she started keeping a steady evening routine, same light snack, same candlelight, same 5 minutes of breath work, she told me, "It's like my brain finally knows when to shut off. I wake up with purpose again." Rhythm is not rigidity, it's reassurance. You're not building a prison of routine. You're giving your brain a soft, predictable beat to follow, like a lullaby. Try this for the next 7 nights. Choose a consistent time for your snack, breath work, and gratitude. Keep the same order, even if your day was chaotic. You're not trying to control time, you're trying to teach your brain to trust it. When the body trusts time, healing becomes easier, memory gets stronger, sleep gets deeper, and the next morning, your mind meets the day not with confusion but with quiet confidence. From here, we'll gather everything we've learned and close with a message of hope. Because aging isn't the end of clarity. It's the return of it if we know how to care for the mind that still wants to serve us. So many people over 60 quietly wonder, is this just what getting older feels like? The slower recall, the sleepless nights, the sense that something is slipping, and you can't quite catch it. But here's what I want to remind you, what science shows us and what experience confirms. You are not fading. You are not broken. You're simply tired. And tired minds don't need more pills. They need more care. Tonight, you've learned that small changes done with intention and consistency can lead to deep transformation. Feeding your brain a gentle snack, slowing your breath to send safety signals, creating an environment that whispers peace, writing down gratitude to clear your mind, and honoring a nightly rhythm to tell your brain, it's time to rest. These aren't life overhauls, they're acts of self-kindness. And every one of them says to your mind, you still matter. You're still needed. You're still capable. If even one part of this video spoke to you, I invite you to start tonight. Don't wait for a perfect Monday or a quieter week. Start with one breath, one candle, one small page of gratitude, and tomorrow, see how you feel. If you found comfort in this message, leave me a comment, just one word to describe how your heart feels right now. And if you'd like more videos that guide you gently toward health and clarity, go ahead and subscribe to Health for the Elderly, because aging with grace is not a luxury, it's your right, and it begins quietly, simply tonight.